Hello there, my name is Pavlo Shtelmo, and now we'll unveil the top news of recent days. Only yesterday Hungary started its presidency in the EU, and today its Prime Minister Viktor Orbán made his foreign visit as a leader of the presiding country in the EU to Ukraine. And the first visit took place in Kyiv. For the first time since 2012, the leader of Hungary arrived in Kyiv, so you understand how long ago it was. At that time, Medvedev was still the president of Russia, Nicolas Sarkozy was the president of France, and the second Ghost Rider movie was showing in cinemas. However, this visit is very important because it is the first trip of the most pro-Russian EU leader to Ukraine. The visit comes just days after Orban and Zelensky met at the EU summit in Brussels, where they had a brief private conversation.
In general, the content of our dialogue on all our issues can become the basis for a future bilateral document between our states. A document that will regulate all our relations, which can be based on a mirror approach to bilateral relations between Ukraine and Hungary, and which will allow our peoples to enjoy all the benefits of unity in Europe.
The leaders of the countries agreed to the terms of both countries will continue to work on the details of joint solutions. During the meeting, the parties also discussed cooperation at the level of EU and expectations from the Hungarian presidency. Particular attention was paid to the most fundamental topics of neighborly relations: trade, cross-border cooperation, infrastructure, and energy issues. In particular, they agreed to open the first Ukrainian school in Hungary.
We want to improve relations between our countries. We wish to sign a cooperation agreement with Ukraine, similar to the agreements that we have with our other neighboring countries. We will participate in the modernization of the Ukrainian economy according to our capabilities.
Orban also expressed hope for a solution to the issues of the Hungarian national minority and noted that all the initiatives of the President of Ukraine to achieve peace. Viktor Orbán called the purpose of his visit to resolve issues of bilateral relations. He emphasized Hungary's desire to fix them and sign a bilateral agreement in the future. The media reported that the negotiations regarding the visit were lengthy. The main topic was the issue of the rights of the Hungarian-speaking minority in Ukraine, which lives in the extreme west of Ukraine near the border between two countries. Back in December in Budapest, the Prime Minister of Hungary said that he had accepted Zelensky's invitation to visit Kyiv, but added, "I told him that I would be at his disposal. We only need to clarify one question: what to talk about." Zelensky also invited Orban to the Ukrainian Peace Summit in Switzerland last month. He refused, but sent Peter Szijjártó instead of him. In addition, Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó has made at least 5 trips to Russia since the full-scale war in Ukraine began, most recently attending an economic forum in St. Petersburg last month. I should note that almost all EU leaders, except for Orban, visited Kyiv after Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022. The Hungarian Prime Minister is also one of the 2 European leaders, along with Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer, who met with Putin during this time. It is not yet known what exactly this meeting will bring for the 2 countries and for Europe, but let's hope for the best. Turkey, Romania and Bulgaria started a joint mine-hunting force in the Black Sea to increase shipping safety, particularly for Ukrainian grain exports, Bloomberg reports. The Istanbul-led initiative, the first major joint action of Black Sea nations since Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, is aimed at defusing mines drifting into specific areas of the Black Sea as the result of the war. Russia and Ukraine are key producers of grain, and the war has threatened the safe passage of shipments. Kyiv launched its own Black Sea export route last year after the collapse of the Safe Corridor deal backed by Russia, Turkey and the UN. That has successfully boosted exports and helped the economy grow faster than forecast, but the road remains risky. Last year, a Russian missile strike near the key Ukrainian port of Odessa hit a commercial ship, killing a pilot and injuring others. A ship hired by agricultural giant Karlik Inc. was also damaged by an explosion while sailing from a Ukrainian port in the Black Sea in November. Exports from Ukrainian Black Sea ports had almost returned to pre-war volumes after repeated attacks and disruptions since Russia's full-scale invasion. Still, ports around Odessa face frequent strikes from Russia that continue to interrupt activity. Ukraine has exported 37.4 million tons of agrarian products from Odessa, Chernomorsk and southern port since the opening of the marine corridor in August 2023. The Ukrainian Infrastructure Ministry informed. Turkey, Romania and Bulgaria, which are members of NATO, signed a memorandum of understanding on the creation of a naval mine defense group in the Black Sea back in January in Istanbul. The group envisages the environment of anti-mine ships of only 3 states. Actions to eliminate the mine threat will be carried out mainly in the territorial waters and exclusive economic zones of the participating countries. The executive body for making decisions and conducting mine countermeasures operations will be a committee consisting of the commanders of the naval forces of Turkey, Romania and Bulgaria. On the basis of the decision made by them, a schedule of operations in separate directions will be drawn up. Let me remind you that NATO allies have increased surveillance and intelligence in the region since the beginning of the war, but not naval activity. Turkey invoked an international agreement that allows the passage of warships belonging only to Black Sea states and not other countries, including NATO allies, to prevent an escalation of the conflict. In October of last year, it became known that Turkey, Romania and Bulgaria could create a unit for demining the Black Sea and are working out the details. The Joint Mine Action Force is not a NATO operation. It was the first joint effort by the Allies in the Black Sea since the start of Russian invasion of Ukraine. The State Duma of Russia proposed obliging migrants to support the war. The draft law on the regime for the expulsion of migrants could be amended to oblige visitors wishing to stay in Russia to respect traditional values, not to distort the Russian version of the history of World War II, and to support the invasion of Ukraine. The corresponding initiative was made by the deputy chairman of the State Duma Defense Committee, chairman of the Rodina Party, Alexei Zhuravlyov. The deputy explained that these amendments will be able to protect participants in the war from visitors because, how surprisingly, there are now frequent cases of attacks on Russian demobilized soldiers, which sometimes end in death. Previously, the head of the investigative committee, Alexander Bastrykin, said that more than 30,000 migrants had been identified in Russia who had received citizenship, of which 10,000 were sent to war. He noted that Russian law enforcement agencies are implementing the provisions of the constitution and laws of Russia, according to which those who have received citizenship must register with the military and, if necessary, go to war against Ukraine, or die for the desire of Putin or the Moscow authorities. He didn't say it, but of course he definitely thought about it. According to Bastrykin, due to the fact that security forces began to catch migrants with Russian passports who had not registered with the military, many foreigners began to leave Russia. Bastrykin called this a trick to combat migrants. Despite this, according to his data, almost 3 million migrants arrived in Moscow, the Moscow region and St. Petersburg in 4 months of 2024. In this regard, Bastrykin proposed tightening immigration standards, obliging entrepreneurs to justify the need to attract migrants and making the status of an illegal migrant an aggravating circumstance. Previously, the head of the investigative committee called for depriving foreigners who evade military service of their acquired Russian citizenship. Bastrykin also proposed sending naturalized citizens to war as a priority. He noted that in the first half of 2022 alone, more than 60,000 residents of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan received Russian passports. They acquired not only rights but also constitutional duties to protect the country that adopted them, Bastrykin emphasized. According to the law on military duty and military service, citizens, including those who have recently received a passport of Russia, are required to register for military service with the military commissariat at their place of residence within 2 weeks. Apparently, there are fewer and fewer people willing to die for the empire, and now they need to look not only in the regions, but also in neighboring countries too. That concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching. Stay updated, comment, like and subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. It is your support that really matters for us. Goodbye.